Hello, welcome to another episode of Gender Chat Show. My name is Adeze Wangpo. On today's episode, we'll be talking about domestic violence and the culture that encourages it. It's really interesting that parents are actually the ones encouraging domestic violence. When women get beaten up by their husbands, we hear things like, you manage it. As a woman, don't talk too much. You too, when he is arguing with you, keep quiet. You don't answer him. They ask you things like, you too, what did you say to him? Don't say anything. Even if he is angry, just keep quiet. Don't argue with him. And when you tell them, oh, well, I was quiet, I wasn't responding to him, and they go, but if he's asking you something, you should answer. You shouldn't just keep quiet. You know, men get angry when they are talking to you and you're not answering them. They are asking you a question and you don't want to answer. So either ways, you lose as a woman. So when you run back to your parents' house and you hear parents tell you things like, well, this is no longer your home. He has paid your bride price, so you don't belong here. You belong to him. You have to go back to your husband's place because that is now your home. It's really funny. It's funny because it means the worth of a woman is about if she's under her husband or not under her husband. That's why a whole lot of women who are going through domestic violence in their marital home don't talk about it. They feel too ashamed to disclose to people what their experience are. They feel the world is going to blame them for the violence. It is always their fault when things go wrong, when they get beaten, when they get mean by their spouses. That is not to say that women are not perpetrators of domestic violence. It's just that statistically, more men tend to be physically violent to their spouses compared to women being physically violent to their spouses. It is very important that we start asking ourselves, why do men feel entitled to hitting women? One could be, they know they will get away with it for sure. Most of the time they actually do get away with it. Secondly, it could be that we encourage it. We live in a society that actually encourages it. That actually tells you, well, as a woman, shut up. The culture that consistently tells a woman to shut up. That our place is a place of silence, that our place is a place of quiet, our place is a place of shh. So they blame you when it goes all wrong in a marriage. You are at fault when it doesn't work. You are at fault when the man beats you up. You are at fault when the man comes on drug. You are at fault when he loses his job and can't deal with the ego of you being the one financially taking care of the home. It is always your fault. See that they are even telling you to pray again. Your pastors will tell you, pray for him, keep praying for him. Nobody is thinking, what if she dies? What if she gets physically maimed such that she could never walk, she could never use her eyes, if she gets blind or something very drastic? Nobody is thinking about protecting the woman. And it's funny how we even make jokes of those things when we talk. Well, if you talk too much, I'll just send you to your husband's house and your man will just beat you with your sharp mouth. Like, a sharp mouth, there has to be a punishment for having a sharp mouth. The punishment for having a sharp mouth must be beating. We really need to address this matter. As men, when you go out with your friends and you get to talk and you argue and you get so heated up and you disagree, you don't punch their faces. You don't beat them up for not agreeing with your view. You don't slap them for not agreeing with your view. You don't tell them to shut up because you're talking. You go about arguing without you feeling like, how dare he argue with me? So if you see your wife as a friend, as your equal, as your partner, as a spouse that she is supposed to be? Why would you feel bad that she's arguing with you? How would you feel belittled because she's having a different opinion from yours? Why would you feel vexed that her idea doesn't tally with yours? It means you should both just argue logically as adults. That's what adults do. You argue, you try to win each other's arguments with superior logic, not with fists, not with beating. When you disagree logically. That's what adults do. You don't go about beating someone to submission, submitting to your own view, submitting to your own logic. You don't beat logic into people. You argue logically as adults to be able to understand yourselves reasonably well. I think we really need to stop this idea of, oh well, you're a woman, you should shut up when a man is talking. If you have a different opinion, you should shut up. You shouldn't talk, you shouldn't argue. When he's screaming, you just shut up. When he asks you a question, you just answer whether you like it or not, whatever it is. Don't argue, don't talk, don't say anything, just shut up. We need to raise our men better. That it's okay for you to have difference in opinion. That difference in opinion doesn't make you superior or inferior. It just means it's a different opinion. So argue logically, be able to win the person's own side to you with a reasonable conviction. That's what adults do. And parents, please, you cannot keep condoning a man beating your daughter in the name of he has paid your bride price. He didn't pay for her death. He paid to be a lover, not a fighter, not a boxer. You shouldn't make your child not have an alternative. It's funny because if now that a whole lot of young girls can take care of themselves and they go to rent their own apartment or just leave the marriage, we actually now think, oh, girls of these days are not tolerant. No! I think girls of those days just know they have better choices than their parents. Because before now, women don't work. They have to rely on their husbands. So when they don't have where to run to, they run back to their parents' house. And their parents, because they are worried about what society will say, what the community will think about them, they would rather send you back to the man's house to keep receiving the battery, rather than welcome you and help you get back your feet, help you go through counseling, to help you heal and all that. So because young girls of those days knew that they have choices, they can move on to take care of themselves. They don't have to rely on their parents to meet their financial needs or their husbands to meet their financial needs. We now say they are not tolerant. No. Our parents who you thought were tolerant weren't tolerant because there was just no other choice for most of them. There was no alternative means of running. There was no place to run back to. Society actually shames them for running away. Their parents, because of what people will think within their community, actually send them back home. And because some of them have heard about people who have run back home and how people treat them shabbily, they avoid falling into the same pit hole. So they stay back in the marriages and manage and condone the beating, and we all tell ourselves, oh, how was it that our parents stayed 25 years in marriages, 50 years in marriages? We need to ask ourselves, were they happy people? Were they fulfilled women in those marriages? So many men want to marry their wives, marry a wife that is like their mother. Ask how many girls really do want to marry a man that is like their father. A very few percentage. So what exactly are men doing wrong? So as a man, you want to marry a woman who is like your mother. because in your eyes she tolerates your father's rubbish, right? Think about it. What girl wants to marry someone who is like her father, knowing fully well that, oh well, my mother was actually going through rubbish. She didn't have a choice, I have a choice, and I'm going to use my choices to the best of my ability. So you need to be better. We need to be better men. Parents, please raise better sons. It's not always about telling the women to endure the beatings from their husbands. Please raise your sons not to hit their hands on a woman, not to raise their hands on a woman. It is not okay. It is totally not okay. If the marriage is not workable, if you cannot talk through your misunderstanding, call it quits. You don't coerce people to stay in, to agree to your own logic by beating them. Whatever you think about today's episode, please join us on Twitter and on Facebook at Gender Chat Show. Please subscribe to our YouTube channel. My name is Adeze Wankwo. See you some other time. Goodbye.